Broncos scored a stunning victory over the Dragons and they prevail in the NRL. Now will the Sharks or the Bulldogs bite the dust? The race is on and you can find out. It's on Sky Sports 3 in the morning at 10:30. But now, who will enter the Super League playoffs as league leaders? Wigan are in pole position just now after their victory over the Saints, so Bradford Bulls know victory is essential over Leeds Rhinos. A win will mean a week off before their playoff bid starts. It's the last of the weekly rounds. Wigan have finished, so have the Saints. The league leadership is the only issue to be settled now at the top of the table. At the bottom, will it be Wakefield or Huddersfield for the big drop? The teams emerge side by side. This, in many ways, is quite a sombre weekend. Not quite so much of the usual razzmatazz that follows the Super League because of the events this week on the other side of the Atlantic. After all, this is only a rugby league match, but for the Bradford Bulls, it is so important. If they win here over their arch enemies from Leeds, they will claim the pole position going into the playoffs in just a week's time. As I say, a more sombre mood than usual. We have seen this week the worst terrorist outrage in history. There are still countless of people buried under the rubble of the World Trade Center in New York, and the final toll of casualties is still unknown at the Pentagon in Washington also. And rugby league, in keeping with every other sport played in the United Kingdom this weekend, will observe a period of silence before each and every game. So the fans here at Valley Parade will now stand for 2 minutes silence in memory of the citizens of the United States and the United Kingdom who have perished in those outrages on the other side of the Atlantic. Impeccable is the only word you can use to describe the silence, and rightly so. Match referee is Robert Connolly. More subdued than normal, as I say, but so important, Steve-O, for the Bradford Bulls to try, if they can, to put the events of this week behind them, as Wigan did last night, and claim pole position in the Super League ahead of those playoffs.
Well, Brian Noble, our guest last night, was adamant that his side would finish the regular season with an almighty bang.
Yes.
The gauntlet, should I say, has been thrown down by Wigan last night. They know fully well it is win, win, win. That is the only thing that will be going through their minds.
Deep kick-off collected awkwardly by Scott Naylor. And Leeds head downfield on the chase. Kevin Sinfield with the opening tackle of this match.
So important for Leeds to get into the faces very, very quickly.
Leeds have Cummins at fullback, the captain, St Hilaire, Walker, Senior, Calderwood, the three-quarters. It's Sinfield and Burrow. This team has been decimated by injury. Cleary, Farrell, McDermott, Wrench, Mercer and Gareth Morton, the Scottish international who actually makes his Super League debut tonight. He's the loose forward. And on the bench, Ward, Dowes, Netherton and Kirk. And the coach is Darryl Powell. Now the Bulls with us at fullback, Vicona, Naylor, Mackay and Price. Henry and Robbie Paul, the half-back partnership. They're just about at full strength, the Bulls. Banganar, Lowe's, McDermott, Gartner, Peacock and Forshaw. On the bench, Deacon, Anderson, Rigon and Fielden. Coach is Brian Noble. This is Henry Paul. Dab the ball to the in-goal area. Francis Cummins slips, but the referee will, I think, take a report from the touch judge about something that happened in back play.
Beautiful work from Fielden that got the standoff Henry Paul on the blind side.
Calderwood has taken Henry Paul out. Bradford Bulls have a penalty and he's going to kick for goal.
Well, that's rather unusual. One would have thought that the Bulls would have been wanting to apply that pressure very early. They mentioned the real advantage that Leeds can have is to make sure that they get their defence solid, try to put a little bit of doubt in the minds of these Bradford players. They do play ever so well here at home. Partisan crowd, of course, backing them all the way, but this is showing a lot of respect for the opposition.
It is, and Henry Paul obviously fancies his chances, even though it's tight out to the right-hand touchline, as you can see. He has a pretty substantial angle. And Henry Paul, last Super League appearance in the weekly rounds for the Bradford Bulls. It's on its way, and Bradford have a 2-point lead, and that's why he elected to kick. Great start for Brian Noble, his men aiming to top the Super League table for the third time. They did so in 1997, they were champions then. 1999, they went to the grand final, and in 2001, well, if they maintain this advantage over Leeds, they will finish top of the pile.
Well, I mentioned the word respect, but also we have to mention the word confidence, because that will certainly have... Oh, that's a real mistake.
Well, Banganar just, rather Tavita Vicona just slipped and the kickoff bobbled over the top of him. So it's going to be a dropout underneath the Bradford posts.
Well, obviously a problem with the studs. He's only got the small ones in. There was quite a heavy downpour a couple of hours before the kickoff, so it will be quite tricky out there, quite damp on the top of the surface.
Vicona held the arm up though, and he acknowledged the mistake. This is Marcus St Hilaire. It was a shallow dropout from Henry Paul. Marcus St Hilaire making his first appearance in the Leeds side for 10 games. Now then, it's with Chev Walker operating in the centre tonight, and just picked up Walker by 3 and driven back a couple of yards. The referee shouts held. Farrell is the hooker, he's at dummy half. On to Rob Burrow. Here now is Kevin Sinfield. And Sinfield gets tackled.
Big ass for Sinfield today. Playing at standoff opposite Henry Paul, who I'm sure will want to go out with a bang, of course. Will not be playing rugby league next season.
Mercer to his feet. Anthony Farrell dummy half again. Sinfield hangs on, takes the tackle from Lowe's once more. And also there was Jamie Peacock. This is the last tackle for the Rhinos. Burrow with the dab through. It bounced off the post.
Oh, he got there.
If Burrow could have put that down, I think he's knocked it forward though. The referee's going to give it on to the video ref to make the decision.
Well, the ball hit the upright, that there's no doubt, but it was a wonderful tackle from Withers. And I think that just makes the ball... Oh, he just lost it. He couldn't get to it, but it was quick thinking there by the little halfback Rob Burrow. I've seen a couple of occasions this year when he's had the opportunity in front of the TV cameras. He's got plenty of speed, especially off the mark, and well, he just couldn't drag it in. This will be no try. Well, surely he can see that he's a knock-on.
Well, that's about the fourth replay, and it was obvious. I mean, I know it's easy to be wise and be a clever dick, but it was obvious from up here. Exactly.
On the last.
No try, and it's the handover. The players are ready, and off we go.
Well, I'm with you, Eddie. I don't know why the video referee took such a long time to make that decision. Quite clear to everyone here, and I'm sure you at home.
He has to get it right, to be fair to him, but it appeared from the first that it was a knock-on. But anyway, the match is in progress now, and it's with Henry Paul.
Well, a little bit of a wake-up call there for the Bradford Bulls. There's the Leeds camp. Looking on pensive, they know that it's not going to be an easy ask. The hook is away!
Jimmy Lowe's, oh, it's a big collision with Francis Cummins. He managed to hang on to the football, though, just the same. I must say, this Valley Parade surface looks like a skating rink. This is Vangenaar. And he is grounded by Gareth Morton. Robbie Ball, he dropped it, but it went backwards.
Oh, he nearly gave himself up there. He was under the indication. That was on the last.
It's the turnover again. So here comes Marcus St. Hilaire. Offside, Bradford.
A bit sixes and sevens at the moment to the Bulls.
Never come back, Gardner.
The mistake, of course, when Vicona allowed that ball to go from the kick-off.
Interfere with the tackle.
And you could see there that quite a few of them had knocked about the required 10, including that fella, big fella Brian McDermott.
Interesting decision here from Leeds. They're going to go for the 2 points on offer.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. Leeds want to really just slow things down. We all know that once the Bulls gain the momentum, they're a pretty difficult team to stop. And these are good tactics.
And it's Rob Burrow, the 18-year-old superstar in the making, who is going to have the shot at goal here for the Leeds Rhinos. 2 tries against St Helens last week. A hat-trick denied by the video referee. And of course the England Academy captain on that tour. He turns 19 later this month, but he's a youngster of absolutely precocious talent. And here he is with the opportunity to level the scores for the Leeds Rhinos. Just shy of 40 metres away. Better angle than Henry Paul had for his first penalty. This to level matters at 2-all. It's a good kick. Burrow levels it. Bradford 2, Leeds 2.
Sweet as a nut. Good follow through, as Eddie has mentioned. This youngster on his way to stardom, and I'm sure that if he can keep clear of injuries, it won't be long before this youngster will be knocking on the international door at top level.
A lot of people point to Lee Crooks, don't they? In 1982, he was a teenager who was drafted straight into an Ashes series. Do you think, Steve-O, as James Lowe steals the ball, do you think that Rob Burrow might get the nod from David Waite?
Well, you never know. David Waite said, prepare yourself for a shock, but that was good work by James Lowe. Stole the ball.
And that's why Bradford have possession. They're 3 metres from the line. It's with Mike Forshaw. Once upon a time, of course, he was wearing the Leeds Rhinos colours. He gets to his feet. There's another former Rhino. Henry Paul. Wide it goes to Withers. They must score. And Naylor is in. First try to the Bulls. They had a 2-to-1 overlap out wide. And the referee gives it eventually, after a long discussion with his touch judge. Maybe the hint of a forward pass. Let's have a look.
Well, they can't really sort of go back on the judgment, but I think that's okay. Yeah, that's fine. Momentum rule perhaps would have come into it anyway. Simple try, just got the ball out wide. They had the extra out. This is the moment that Mercer had the ball stripped away. Good work from the hooker, Jimmy Lowe's, and from this, Leeds have paid the price for not keeping possession of the football. And the Bulls on their way.
And he's from exactly the same spot as he hit his first penalty, but he's missed it this time. It's 6-2 to Bradford, though. And Scott Naylor, the try scorer. 2 tries against Warrington. He now has 81 career tries in a career that began at Wigan a decade ago. the England international, Scott Naylor. First try to Bradford, Leeds with the kick-off. Trapped by James Lowes. The runner is Van Genaar.
Well, I said it might be the wake-up call that the Bulls needed. There's 2 points from the little halfback Rob Burrow. Big crowd here, anticipating that the Bulls will clock up yet another mammoth score.
Well, they've topped 50 points here 5 times, Bradford. And here is Graham Mackay, another former Rhino. The Bradford Bulls littered with ex-Leeds stars. And he's struggling to his feet, and he gets the penalty because he was struggling to his feet. Lowes takes it quickly.
Quick thinking again from the hooker. No doubt about it. It's a ploy that Leeds are trying to implement to just slow the man getting up and playing the ball quickly.
Mackay, he bounces off McDermott. He's got Morton on his back. He had Mercer in support there as well. He's still got them to within a couple of metres. Forshaw is in. Mike Forshaw with the second try for Bradford. And I'm afraid that Leeds undone in defence. None of these Bradford supporters will be complaining about that, of course.
Just a basic move. They kept pegging away on the blind side, and then look at the gap there. Oh, that was an awful attempt. Not the best by the Leeds defence there. Just a stroll, really, for Forshaw. Ooh, the danger signs are already being hung out on the flagpole.
Mike Forshaw, he's played all 3 wins against Leeds this year. His try converted by Henry Paul, and Bradford Bulls 2-all not long ago. It's now 12-2.
Well, the defence was hesitant. They held back, didn't make any effort to sort of try to get into the face and cause any frustration. They're happy, and why not?
And so will he be. It was his intention, Brian Noble, at the start of the season, but on the back of this new home fortress at Valley Parade, that they would click on and they would take the league leadership with them into the playoff series. It's so important. It means they will get the week off next week, when the other 4 of the top 5, they will be battling it out, and then they will come home here to play with the opportunity of going straight to Old Trafford. And that's exactly what they wanted. Robbie Paul, and here now is Gartner, and Gartner's going to get over for the 3rd Bradford try. Oh, it's too easy. Leeds shorn of so many of their stars. Just the start that Brian Noble wanted. And Daniel Gartner, his 12th try of the campaign. But I'm afraid that the signs are not looking good if you're a Leeds Rhinos fan.
Going far too high. Paul just ducked underneath. Half-hearted attempt to tackle. Gartner on hand. Big problem. And you could see there that Darren Fleary was left in no man's land. Great support by Gartner. He knows the way to the line, that is for sure. That's been one of the highlights of the Bulls this season, is their ability to back up the man carrying the ball.
And so too has been Henry Paul's kicking, although that time, I don't know what he was quite thinking of. He tried maybe to slide it underneath the wind, I'm not sure. He's missed anyway.
Talking of sliding underneath the wind, wasn't that a beautiful step there? Excellent play. Oh, superb.
Well, the Bulls, they have a new points record for a Super League year under their belts already, 1,058. They average 39 per game. For a second year in a row, they have topped 1,000. And they could really be intent on setting new marks here tonight for the rest of the Super League to follow in the years to come.
Well, it's a big ask now. It's a big ask now for the Rhinos. I mean, when you look through their team sheet, he knows that he's a little bit thin, especially on the bench. I mean, when you look at the bench, Ward, Dowes, Netherton and Kirk, Danny Ward is the most experienced in the substitutes there, so that gives you some indication how weak it is.
And they have more problems here. Darren Fleary was a bit high with that smash into the face.
High tackles on your side.
Well, to be fair to Fleary,
it wasn't a smash into the face.
I thought it was right across the shoulder. Didn't seem to be anything wrong with that at all.
Maybe slid up, certainly.
Well, seen worse.
Yes, but Robert Connolly anxious to stop any argy-bargy. This is always a passionate affair, this. Lowe's, he offloads to Gartner. It goes wide to Henry Paul, and Sinfield got to him with help from Cleary. A little sign there from Mike Forshaw. They're going down the right-hand side with Peacock, and Peacock will offload to Forshaw again, and he gets away from a couple, and this is Brian McDermott. Mercer came up to him and hit him hard.
Well, talk about signs. It was Jimmy Lowe's that squared up to Barry McDermott there.
Oh, they've got the man on the overlap again. Vicona is in. Tavita Vicona. That's try number 22. Amazingly, Bradford scored 14 tries last week at Warrington, and the big Tongan didn't get one of them. Well, he's added to his try tally now. That's 22 for the year for Tavita Vicona.
In scintillating form. It was sheer strength that got through, but it was Jimmy Lowe's running from dummy half, got the ball away, missed out Naylor. Under strain. Nothing they could do about this. They are in all sorts of trouble, are the Rhinos, in regard to their defensive line. First and second markers not shaping up, allowing the hooker to run free and offload. You'll always pay the price when you do that.
Well, they're giving Henry Paul the devil's own job to increase the lead. This is out on the far side again, and he has scored this time. Well, he's amazing, isn't he? He misses from in front and he slides it over from out there. 22-2, and Bradford are on their way to a week's holiday and the playoffs in pole position.
I think I'd rather call it a rest. I don't think that Brian Noble will be giving any of his players a holiday. They will be mentally and physically prepared for the onslaught.
I wonder,
in a fortnight's time.
I wonder what Darryl Powell is thinking. They have to go to St Helens, of course, next weekend.
Well, I'll tell you what Darryl Powell will be thinking is the fact that unfortunately he's without Robbie Mears and also Carl Pratt. It would be at a little bit a different complexion to this game if those players were out there.
Yes, Pratt, broken jaw.
And there's one out. There's a Leeds player down in back play. I think it's Walker.
It is Walker.
He's in a lot of trouble.
And I think I said it was Pratt out with a broken jaw. It's Mears out with a broken jaw, and Pratt has had surgery this week. And by the looks of things, Chev Walker's in all sorts of trouble here. This is Gartner. Danny Ward has come on for Barry McDermott.
Well, he'll certainly toughen up the defence, as we just saw there.
This is Henry Paul. They go wide again to Scott Naylor. Scott Naylor, little dab over the top, and it's an invitation for Vicona, but well claimed by Calderwood. Good tackle, though, by Brian McDermott.
Inventive play there from Scott Naylor. All the way through, so he tried to lob the ball back to the right winger. Calderwood equal to the task. This is a big ass now, 20 points adrift, and the Bulls are in no mood to let go.
Total metres gained, 420 by Bradford, just 20 by Leeds. That's before this particular set of 6. That's a deep kick from Sinfield, but that's going to be far too deep. Well, it's very difficult to come here and play with a full-strength side against Bradford. Never mind a team that is ripped apart by injury. We've mentioned Robbie Mears, we've mentioned Carl Pratt, there's Ryan Sheridan, there's Tony Carroll missing as well. It's a very big ask for Leeds tonight.
And that's good refereeing. There was interference at the play of the ball there. A little bit messy, but he said get on with it. It was nice to see officials sort of looking at both aspects of the game.
Ryan McDermott.
They lost it.
It was stolen. The referees decided that was stolen.
Well, they did call held.
Decided it was stolen by David Wrench, and that's a bit intimidatory by Lowe's. Lowe's and Fleary.
Faddle interjects that Fleary would not give the ball to Jimmy Lowe's.
So Lowe's pushed him, and I think Fleary hit the deck.
I think Jimmy just said rather politely with a smile, "May I have the ball back, please?" I wonder.
where the ball was lost. That's why we have the penalty, and there's the little shove from James Lowe's. But pressure here for Leeds again to try and weather. Lowe's, the runner is Peacock. Peacock is gangly second row forward to within 10 metres of the line. Lowe's again. It's Robbie Paul trying to jink his way to the line. Robbie Paul spinning and
what
turning.
An effort.
I think he's over.
He is. It's TRY time, and he knows it. He'll give this.
He has. Robbie Paul just spun and turned and weaved his way to the line. That was a terrific effort from the Bradford captain. Well, they're in the mood here to rewrite the record books.
He knows he's laid the Bulls because he went tiptoeing right the way through the tulips here. Robbie Paul, talk about poor defence. One step, two step, one twist, another step, another twist, another twist. Give me the four. Well, that's poor defence, but let's take nothing away from the effort from Robbie Paul. Just mesmerised them. Spins, twists. Wonderful, super effort. On the line counts.
And Big Brother has added the extra 2. 28 points to 2 now. And Robbie Paul tries in 6 of his last 8 for the Bradford Bulls. 4 major cup final defeats this fellow has led the Bulls to, but 1 win, the 2000 Challenge Cup final, and he hopes a second win just round the corner in the 2001 Grand Final. This is Naylor. Well, Leeds, I think now it's just a question for the Rhinos of trying to keep Bradford's score down to some sort of respectability. But it's going to be a huge ask for them over the next 60 minutes or so.
Well, the defence is all at sea. You can see there that on that occasion, both the markers going the same way. They both went the right way. Just total confusion. Bradford are controlling things out there, especially where Jimmy Lowe's is concerned.
They're on top of their form, Bradford. This is Vanganar. He just bounced one out of the way. The ball bounced behind
Play
him.
on. Oh, no.
Penalty.
Offside, he's put.
It was stolen in the tackle.
Ball and, it's going to be a big problem. Will they go for 2? Or will they just kick it right into the corner? I think they're going to go for the corner. But the strength of this fella, what a season he's had. Vanganar, the Valiant.
The 5th Bradford penalty here we're watching. It's 5-1 the penalty count at the moment.
Well, we spoke about how light the Leeds bench is. When you look at the Bradford side, Deacon, Anderson, Rigon and Fielder. Oh.
Yes, it could be a procession to that Leeds line tonight. 28-2 already, 22 minutes gone. And here is Robbie Paul onto brother Henry, who has so much time, and he picks out Withers.
Great tackle.
It was a good tackle by St. Hilaire. Naylor has switched sides. He's a big man to put down this. They're in awesome mood tonight, the Bulls.
They sure are, and they work this blind side so well. Most people expected to come back into the centre play, but they keep stretching the defence into one corner.
And here they go again, and Henry Paul nearly stepped around Kevin Sinfield. He did, but he couldn't get away from the next 2. And it wasn't the best play of the ball. That could be a penalty the other way, and it is. Yep. Penalty to Leeds.
Trying to get on with the game a little bit too quickly there. Though it could have gone either way, couldn't it? Went all over him. David Wrench. But he never made any attempt to sort of pick it up, regain his feet, and then plonk it back down, as the rule states. But at least make an attempt at it.
There's a confirmation the penalty count is well in Bradford's favour, but so too is the scoreline at the moment. 23 minutes gone. Farrell to Rob Burrow. Burrow then to Mercer, who has dropped it. There's a knock on either way. The referee will put the scrum down here.
And little half-back Rob Burrow trying to get things moving, and this doesn't help the cause. You can see there that Mercer, despite his experience, just had a little look. Robbie Paul was zoning in. He was the target, and the ball was dropped.
Well, Brian McDermott goes off. There's no respite for the Rhinos, though. Stuart Fielden comes on. They talk about this awesome foursome, and Brian Noble rotates his prop forwards all the way through the season. And here now is Vicona. He's taken senior on. He takes the tackle, though, of Calderwood. Good tackle it was as well, but they're stretched in defence again, and the Bulls are flooding forward. Robbie Paul called for it and got it. Gave it then short to Withers. Withers attracts the attention of Chev Walker.
Much better from Leeds there. Sliding defence got back very quickly, despite the fact that Vicona burst down the right-hand side.
Gartner to his feet, plays the ball to Lowe's. They come down the short side. Leon Price forced into touch. Was good defence.
Mercer and the little half-back Barrow. And again, he worked his flying so well.
Play with the ball, touch the
This
corner
is the
flag.
big fella in action, so close, boom, but Calderwood did well. Well, Daryl Powell has had little to be pleased about so far in the opening 24 minutes, but at least in the last couple of times that Bradford have had possession, their defence has looked pretty solid.
No penalties, guys.
Well, it's a highly impressive start by the Bradford Bulls. I wonder what Phil Clark's making of it all down on pitch side.
Well, Eddie, I've seen the Bradford Bulls play on more than 10 occasions this year at a very similar scenario where they blow their opponents away in the first 20 minutes. Really just have been far too big and too strong for Leeds to cope with. And whichever team has to come here in the playoffs, they need to develop a strategy of coping with that opening 20-minute blast that the Bulls come out with. I think Daryl Powell's going to learn a lot tonight about his players, especially the younger ones. This is a very, very tough learning ground, and they are really up against it. His biggest problem is his side just haven't had the ball, and little things like getting hold of the ball and keeping hold of it for 6 tackles will please him at the moment.
Anthony Farrell with the forward pass that produced the scrum down. That's why Bradford have the possession. Farrell, by the way, the last time he played hooker was in the first round of the year 2000, and Leeds lost at home to Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. This is Henry Paul now, and here is Gartner, and again just letting him down the footwear. But look at the way that Bradford are keeping hold of this football. It's now with Mackay. Lowe's.
Oh, great take from the hooker there.
Yes, Morton was all over him. Gartner. Henry Paul, wide it goes to Robbie Paul, and Robbie Paul, well, that's an interference, obstruction.
And Brian not too happy about the decision. He said that he hadn't made any contact. And I think the second dummy runner coming back on the inside was deemed the man to have interfered, and I think rightly so. The displeasure of Brian Noble. But he won't be too unhappy about the scoreline.
No, he'll be thrilled to bits. Leeds won't be, and they're trying to rescue something from this first half now, but that's great defence from Gartner and also from Henry Paul.
Biggest problem, though, that Leeds have it, even when they do get possession, they find it difficult to get over the advantage line. In fact, on a couple of occasions, they've been tackled further back than when they've played the football.
This is Sinfield. Sinfield has got 3 around him, and he released the ball straight into the arms of James Lowe's.
Not the best option in heavy traffic.
Well, he's looking for David Wrench, and Wrench wasn't expecting it, I'm afraid.
Well, at this level, you keep your eyes on the football at all time.
Anthony, what's your knees?
Well, they've stemmed the tide somewhat. Obviously, the message has been sent out from Daryl Powell. Let's show a little bit more. Oh, that's a bit dangerous, flashing out with the boot.
Vicona up the middle, and they can't get him down, so he releases the ball to Withers, and Withers will attack them again. Calderwood and Senior, well, they're being worked overtime in defence down that left-hand channel.
And they're running at will, having so much space.
Robbie Paul, Henry Paul, beautiful ball to Forshaw. Forshaw, back it goes to Henry. How did that stick? It went like a bullet into his chest. And not coming to greet him, so he flicks it back to Naylor. It's pretty to watch, not if you're a Leeds fan.
Well, that's got to be a penalty.
It is another penalty.
Cummings definitely reefed that ball away.
Don't look at me, you pinched it, mate.
Danny Ward was hanging around.
You pinched it.
I think they'll take the 2 here. Sheer desperation there from the Leeds skipper. They would have gone for a quick tap. Play on.
Yes, they didn't go for the 2 points that were on offer. They have they're looking for more with Peacock. Peacock to drive it in, and Peacock is almost there. Got underneath Ward, but fortunately the reinforcements were there. Lowe's, that's a great ball, and that's
great
good defence. Anderson, he's pretty heavy, he's pretty weighty, and he's pretty powerful, but he couldn't get over. Here now is Henry Paul, though. Henry Paul, that was out of the back door again and picked up by Forshaw. who goes away from Mercer, gives it to Robbie Paul. Brilliant. That was brilliant. Second try for Robbie Paul. They're so inventive. And in this mood, they will cut any opposition to ribbons.
Wonderful pass from Forshaw. Did the step, got round the man, just offloaded. And as I mentioned before, the Bulls are superb at backing up the man with the football. He threw it anywhere, did Henry. Didn't matter, it stuck to Forshaw. Look how he just rounds the man. Knows that someone's there. Oh, excellent effort. They're running rampant. What a season this guy's had. Mike Forshaw, he's playing out of his skin this season. So was this fella. That was yours, he said. Sure was.
Bang in front, Henry Paul. Nonchalantly, he just strokes it over the top of the crossbar. 34 points to 2. And Leeds have been blown away in this first half. Well, the party is underway because Bradford will hit those playoffs as league leaders. But injuries have hampered Darryl Powell and the Rhinos as much as any other club. Brett Mullins now back in Australia. Bradley Clyde's hardly played this year either. Sheridan, Pratt, and of course the Yestin Harris situation hasn't helped the Leeds progress this year. But they've got to 5th in the table, and they must go to St Helens now next weekend, and that's when their season really will begin all over again.
Well, Darryl Powell, the Leeds coach, will be bitterly disappointed, not so much as with the scoreline, but the way that they've not just kept hold of possession and their defence have just wilted away. St Helens, of course, they got a hammer in last night, so it was so important that Leeds build their confidence for that vital playoff game next week. And I'm afraid on this showing, St Helens won't be too upset.
Lovely chip forward, and great chase by Robbie Paul looking for it. St Hilaire with nowhere to go. Walker, the dummy half. Look at the defence swarming around the Leeds ball carrier. But it was 44 points to 6 at half-time last week at Wilderspool, when Bradford ran in 84 points in the end. And they could be even better.
Look at that stat. 21-0.
That's the missed tackles.
And the offloads, Bradford 15, Leeds 0. Not good stats for the Rhinos' point of view. Brian Noble, the Bulls boss, will be absolutely delighted.
That's better though. Ward to Burrow, on to Sinfield. Sinfield then to Morton. Morton, lovely ball back to St Hilaire. First chance really for St Hilaire, and St Hilaire, that's terrific. That's a terrific try. First real chance that Leeds have had, and St Hilaire comes up with the 4 points. And that was fashioned from the Leeds Rhinos nursery. Burrow was involved, Calderwood involved, Sinfield involved, Morton involved, and in the end it was St Hilaire over the line. Danny Ward involved as well, let's not take anything away from him.
Well, it was Ward that got the offload there, the first off the game. Morton, beautiful back on the inside. That was good play, but this is scintillating stuff from St Hilaire. Oh, we'll want to watch that a few times, and why not? This is a damn fine try. The first offload, as I said, from Ward. Neat back on the inside. Oh, it's a beautiful pass. And Mackay was given the run around. Oh, what a finish.
Well, Marcus St Hilaire, Challenge Cup final try against the Bulls in 2000. 2 England caps for him in 1999 against the French, and that's one of the best tries that Marcus St Hilaire has ever scored. Burrow now to try and add the extras. There's the angle he's got. It's a tiny figure in front of that big stand.
What a great kick.
But what a kick. What a fabulous kick. 34 points to 8.
Big kick for a little guy.
Well,
Did you hear Robert Connolly then? That was a big kick for a little guy. And it was.
Maybe a little in stature, but he's huge in the heart department, I can assure you. That really was scintillating stuff, and as you mentioned, Eddie, that had youth written all over it.
Yes, out of the nursery, as I say. The one thing that Darryl Powell will take out of this season, and we've said it so many times this year with all these youngsters who are playing for him so well in the Super League, is that it's really like money in the bank. It's like a huge interest-free loan, bearing in mind that it will be Super League 7 before we can blink an eye.
Well, if they come to fruition and go right to the top, yes, but so often in the past, Leeds have had a lot of youngsters coming through, and they seem to just, for some unknown reason, just fold away and finish up going to other clubs and then going into obscurity.
This fellow won't, though.
No.
This fellow is a bubbly talent.
He's got a huge heart, and he knows what to do. He knows his way around the field of play.
And Francis Cummins has gone for a 40-20. High bounce in front of Icona, but the winger had positioned himself perfectly. He runs it back as far as the first line of defence, and Withers has broken through, and he's through. Francis Cummins, he's got Leon Price with him as well, and Leon Price dumps the ball back to Withers. Well, they've stung Bradford by scoring that try, and Withers will hang on, he'll take the tackle, and Bradford will regroup about 18 metres out.
Well, that was amazing. The full-back just sauntered through as though it was a stroll down the park. The fence just folded away.
Henry Paul, they're again attacking that right-hand side. Naylor. Oh, now then, did he take the corner flag out first?
No, I think he got it down.
The corner flag went over. Yeah, the touch judge has given a little nod. Second try for Naylor. It's almost as though Bradford have said to Leeds Rhinos, how dare you score? Because in their next attack, the Bulls are over for their umpteenth try. I've lost count. It's seven tries in the opening half.
Well, they just folded away when Withers got them into this position. Superb pass, linking through, nothing you can do about it. He's always dipping towards the try line. Exquisite passing from the Bradford side tonight. And the finishing's not too bad either. Nothing that Senior could do about it. They do it ever so well down there. They suck the opposition into certain parts of the field, and then when the congestion is there, they've got the skills and the speed to get the ball out wide.
Well, he slotted them over from the touchline until that moment. He's missing a few, isn't he? That's 5 from 8 now, but hey, when you score 7 tries in the opening, what, 35 minutes?
Well, a look of anguish on his face, and it's not too impressive from that fella either, Darryl Powell. They both look as though they've had 7 draws and the other one's been postponed.
Yes, well, maybe Darryl Powell is thinking already about next weekend and the game against the Saints. But the last thing they'll want to go...
That's got to be a penalty.
Anderson, the ball was stolen. But the last thing that Leeds will want to do is to enter those playoffs with a huge defeat against their name, and it looks like it will be a huge defeat. Well,
I mentioned the fact that they came here hoping perhaps put up a good show, lift their confidence, and as soon as I'd mentioned that, they did get into the swing of something for the first time in the game, and it was something for Darryl Powell to sort of, well, get out of it, and then within minutes after scoring a sensational try from St. Hilaire, they allow Withers to just take a stroll down the middle for 50-60 metres.
Good ball from Henry Paul to Anderson, and Leeds muscling up in defence. That was Ewan Doze who got the tackle in on the big fellow. There's Sinfield now with David Wrench, bringing the next man down. This is Lowe's. Lowe's is having a field day today.
Well, he's controlling things out there, isn't he? And when he's in this mood, Bradford always seem to shine.
Henry Paul, wide it goes to Gartner. Gartner is grounded about 10 metres short of the line. Mackay. Henry Paul again, a little dab through, but that wasn't the best kick. Gobbled up by Francis Cummins.
Very well to the fullback. Anticipated that the kick was coming. Right into the breadbasket.
Calderwood now for the Leeds Rhinos. Peacock and Vicona are there.
Just look at that one line of defence moving forward.
That's Danny Ward, who feels the full weight of that defence. Denied a try by the video referee at St Helens, Danny Ward. This is Gary Mercer. Oh,
that was a big hit. Wasn't it across the chest? Mercer didn't like it.
It was by Anderson, and Mercer wasn't too impressed.
I think that was into the mush.
Burrow. St Hilaire. They've lost a bit of ground there.
Oh, Mackay there, who was given a real runaround by Senilea when he scored the try. Made sure he was going to get to it. That's a 40-20 attempt.
Took over the top by Gareth Morton and gobbled up by Withers. The chase is there for Withers, but and Mercer didn't miss then. Here is Mackay now for the Bradford Bulls. Well, the Leeds Rhinos really have to take their playoff lead from Castleford of 2 years ago, when they came from 5th and got to within 80 minutes of Old Trafford. But they're going to have to do it the hard way. The champions await them next weekend, Leeds. Bradford with the week off, and at the moment it's going to be Wigan against Hull. This is Lowe's. So next weekend it's Wigan, Hull and Saints Leeds.
Great to see Lowe's back into top form. Earlier in this season he really wasn't running from dummy half, and that'll be play on.
It is. It was flicked back by Fielden, then from Mackay to Gartner, then to Henry Paul. What a kick that was off the outside of the boot. Flick back again, and Francis Cummins swoops. And Cummins, well, he's down the line, he's got Price after him. Price cuts him down. Good defence.
Brilliant stuff. Good effort from the full-back, Price, and that's half-time.
Half-time it is, and what a half for the Bradford Bulls. They lead by 38 points to 8. 7 tries. Henry Paul has added 5 goals. And Leeds, they started well with the Burrow penalty that levelled the scores after 7 minutes. But then after that, the Bulls hit a 23-minute purple patch in which they scored 6 of their 7 tries. Bradford are on the way to the top of the table and the week off ahead of the playoffs. At half-time it's Bradford 38, Leeds 8. And what can Darryl Powell do to stop the bleeding in the dressing rooms at half-time? It's going to be a big ask.
October, crucial World Cup qualifiers, the best from the Premiership, Spanish, German and Scottish leagues. Come home to Sky Sports.
There's a new home.
And this is our first night.
Dad. What? I can't get the PC working. So ring the Curry's helpline.
With the new Curry's helpline, you can ring us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We've no worries low prices too. Like this Packard Bell PC with printer, scanner and desk for just $7.99.
Dad, you'll never guess what it was.
Curry's. No worries.
It's Mr. Cole. I haven't seen him for days.
Don't worry, madam. We'll deal with it. Mr. Corr, are you in there? Hello, Mr. Corr? Nothing. No.
Go on then. Hey? Go on.
Mad about movies? Then call BT on 0800 001 800 for a great deal on Sky Digital and ITV Digital.
Hello?
chicken sandwich.
Can I get you a drink, Pet?
Strongbow pints. Ah, loafing juice.
What do you want? Go on, naff off.
Confused about your pension options? Then call for the government's impartial guide.
You will see colours that are dramatic and evocative at Tate Britain. Colours taken from life. You'll also find them amongst B&Q's huge range of paints, the Tate collection. Colours to inspire you. Colours that complement each other so you can get the look you want for the life you lead.
Get the colours from life. For your life. Only at B&Q.
You can do it when you B&Q it.
Mario Kart Super Circuit on Game Boy Advance. 4 players, no rules.
A big night of live boxing coming up for you tonight. 6 title fights in all, including Ricky Hatton defending his world title against John Bailey. That's live on Sky Sports 1 from 7:45. And on Sky Sports Extra from 10 o'clock, Jawad Khalik defends his IBO welterweight title against Jacek Bailski. Half-time here in the Super League, and it's 38 points to 8 to the Bradford Bulls. It has been a comprehensive destruction of the Leeds Rhinos in the opening 40 minutes. Let's take a look at the statistics, and it's incredible, isn't it? The Bradford Bulls have managed just 45 tackles, and Leeds have missed more than half of those, 26. 119 they've made. And, well, needless to say, all the tacklers for Bradford in single figures: Gary Mercer, David Wrench, Kevin Sinfield. Well, they're running their blood to water. And, well, he's sitting down to deliver the half-time team talk. Not too much, really, that he needs to say, I think. But Brian Noble, ever the perfectionist, will have something that he wants ironing out in the second half. And poor old Darryl Powell, he'll be hoping for the final siren already. And it's just a question, really, of these troops of his getting through the next 40 minutes and then building towards the St Helens match next week when the real business starts. Taken to the cleaners, Steve-O, is a phrase that comes to mind.
Yeah, unfortunately, the body language said it all in that Leeds dressing room, didn't it? And when Eddie and I were just making our way to the gantry before the kick-off, they said that they were looking forward to a tri-fest with the crowd here. They were a bit surprised that it was Leeds that had the first opportunity. Good work from Burrows, nice kick. But then James Lowes stole the ball from Mercer, and then the tries just kept coming and coming. Their ability to suck the defence into a middle section and then get the ball out wide produced the first for Naylor. And then Forshaw just strolled away. That was pitiful tackling there from Leeds. They were falling apart at the seams. And then when Paul did the shimmy and then made the break, and Gartner supported. I mentioned in that first half that Bradford this year have been quite superb in the support department. That certainly was one of them, with Gartner going over. And then the strength again. Jimmy Lowes running things from the dummy half position. Nice to see him back to form. Vicona far too strong. In for try number 4. It wasn't long after we got Robbie Paul's first try, and try number 5 as he gives the ball out wide. And we see the Gartner try again. It was that good. And we see the Forshaw try again. That's the time where Paul goes through, Robbie for his first one. And he was delighted, and rightly so. Good work from Forshaw. He's in top form. In absolute superb form, and they just run amok, didn't they, the Bradford side? But Leeds did come up with a pretty good effort themselves, and as Eddie mentioned, it was from the youth of their side. Danny Ward set it all off, Burrows inside, And good work from the loose forward, Gareth Morton, back on the inside. But look how St. Hilaire just stands up the big fella, Mackay. And that really did lift their spirits. But only seconds after Leeds had scored that try, Withers just went for a stroll down the middle. And the result was a try in the end for Naylor, keeping the ball alive. Withers getting himself involved yet again. They're all at sea, this Leeds defence. Real problems. And again, see how they just hesitate. And he who hesitates is lost. This fella wasn't. Naylor, all the strength in the world. They are getting the try fest, aren't they? And rightly so. Some beautiful tries on show in there in the first half, but Daryl Powell, big problem in their defence. They've got to sort it out.
Well, the Bulls have got the only 100% record at home in the Super League this year. They're on course here for win number 14 on the trot. And remarkably, the last team that beat the Bradford Bulls on home soil was the Leeds Rhinos at Odsal last year. Phil Clark's on the sideline. Phil, I don't think that history will repeat itself somehow.
No, it's probably a case of damage limitation for Daryl Powell at the moment. He wants to get through the game without losing any more energy, really, or any more players to injury. And I suppose he'll just have to try and set aside that small goal of competing and maybe even winning the second half. But it's a very, very tough job for them to do. Conversely for Bradford, well, Brian Noble's got to be delighted, as you've pointed out, and if anything, probably wants to hold the reins back slightly. Doesn't want them to peak too early. They've blown this side away in the first half. He'll probably want them to come out again and do a very strong opening 10 minutes, really, to prevent any enthusiasm creeping back into the Leeds side with an early try. And you do have to tend to feel sorry for the Leeds side. We talk about St Helens being racked by injury all year, but probably none worse than Leeds. Their overseas players, Clyde and Mullins, haven't really fired all year. They've lost Harris, and now on top of that, there are no other senior players, so they really are doing it tough. But you talk about investment in youth, well, this is what it's all about. You learn the hard way, and these guys will learn a very, very important lesson in the next 40 minutes.
Yes, but they're doing it tough, Phil, you're absolutely right. We always, on our Sky matches, and this is the last of the weekly rounds, we offer you at home the chance to have your say in who's going to take home the watch as man of the match. Well, you don't really have a say, because that actually belongs to Steve-O and Phil Clark. They make the choice. If you agree with them, you could be off to the grand final on October the 13th. You could claim a couple of best seats if your name comes out of our computer first, and we'll give you the telephone numbers. I'm sure you know them by now anyway, off by heart, but we'll give you those telephone numbers midway through the second half, when the telephone lines will open. There are plenty of contenders too in the white jerseys of the Bradford Bulls. They're ahead at half-time in a big way.
Excuse me. I'm looking for some help with my pension options. I understand I can find it here.
Looking for an impartial guide to your pension options? Visit our website.
Sorry, mate. You got the wrong kind of web.
Only really fresh lettuce, tomatoes and onions go into our chicken deli wraps with either Cajun or Caesar sauce. The new chicken deli wraps, fresh in at Burger King.
What are you doing here?
It's the sequel.
Oh, yeah?
Duh.
They are back.
Is everybody here? All right, let's go.
With more screams, more laughs, and less clothes. Scary Movie 2.
If only I could have a puppet, I'd call myself so very lucky.
With Pedigree, you can care for your dog's health as you care for your own. Pedigree Puppy. It can double the strength of his immune system, so he's protected when he needs it most. Pedigree Puppy. For health you can see every day of his life.
I'm
Get Britain's best-selling MPV for 11,980 with air conditioning. The Citroën Zara Picasso. Free your mind.
Because we know a home is not just bricks and mortar, More Than's home insurance even covers the theft of your garden plants. More Than Home Insurance. Call 0800 300 606.
Buy this stunning red three-seater sofa and save £600 this week only. Just one of the amazing savings in the Court Sofa Discount Week.
Cruella de Vil is back in 102 Dalmatians, and this time she's crueler than ever.
You dog, you.
You give everything.
And sometimes you don't get anything in return.
Even when faced with defeat.
You stay cool, resilient, and impenetrable.
Then in a moment,
It all becomes worth it.
You go from being nowhere
to being in the limelight.
The saviour of 50,000 dreams.
If you want to reach the top, you have to make sacrifices.
The new series of Dream Team starts tomorrow at 8, Sky 1.
I'm sure you watched the Brisbane Broncos scoring a stunning victory over the Dragons from the NRL. They prevail. Now, will the Sharks or the Bulldogs go out of the competition? The only place to find out, Sky Sports 3 in the morning at 10:30. The Bradford Bulls are going to hit the playoffs as league leaders with 14 straight wins at home. 38-8 they lead the Leeds Rhinos. It's not a question now of how, but how many for the Bulls. They are having the time of their lives. They've had the season of their lives here. I remember we went to Odsal when Paris were blown away and the Bradford Bulls celebrated their championship in 1997. That was a party to behold. Well, they've nothing to celebrate yet, but they will hit the playoffs as league leaders this year for the third time in the summer era. And who knows, they could go this year all the way to Old Trafford and pick up the glittering trophy on the 13th of October. Deacon is on, and that's great defence.
Wonderful stuff. And that could be a try. Oh, Forshaw was so close. With the drop out. And that nearly was a gift try. Well, the youngster tried hard.
These fresh-faced Leeds youngsters.
Yeah, Morton thinking, oh, dearie me. But really, the experienced Gary Mercer should have opted for the dropout in the beginning. Not trying to offload there. But I suppose at 38-8, you may as well try something.
Good length on the dropout, though. Fielden collects it and drives it back into the chest of Gary Mercer. Deacon for Robbie Paul. That's interesting.
Yeah, interesting also. I was speaking to Brian Nolan, also our guest last night. And he said, remember when they got to a good lead, when they last played Leeds here, and they allowed Leeds to get back into the game, and the players were not impressed with that effort, and I'm sure that Brian Noble would have made that quite clear. He would have reminded them of that, and I think we might see a blitz in the opening 10 minutes.
Henry Paul's up the middle. He had Paul Deacon on his inside. He held on, and he took the tackle from Francis Cummins. This is James Lowe's. He'll scamper away yet again. Fires the pass to Naylor. Naylor then gives it to Vicona. And Vicona gets the Bulls to within 3 metres of the Leeds line again. It's the last tackle here, this set of 6. And with us, off the deck to Deacon. Here's the kick out wide. It's a high hanger. It's looking for Leon Price. It's found Leon Price. That's a knock-on, though.
Yeah. There'll be no try. That'll be the turnover. It was on the last.
Oh, he's gone for the screen.
Well, I suppose he has to, but it's no try anyway.
The restart.
Now then, it came off St. Hilaire. And if he got that, that would have been a try, but there's, well, no try in my mind because there's a knock-on.
No doubt.
Now, if it's back to 6, then it'll be head and feed, and
it's a 20-metre restart, isn't it? Oh. The turnover. We were all waiting for the 20-metre restart, players and referee.
Well, I thought St. Hilaire deliberately went for that football, so therefore it was play on. And I think that that Price then knocked on. Well, I would have had made a scrum.
We've got four different versions now. Well, the man who counts is the video referee. He has said handover. That's what the players have done. That's why Leeds are in possession. And we will go to the touchline and Bill Arthur for all the half-time news.
Eddie, I should imagine we're going to see a bit more commitment from the Leeds Rhinos in this second half, because I think they've been given the talking to, the proverbial Mal Reilly talking to at half-time by all accounts. Not pleased with the effort in the first 40 minutes, and they want to see an improvement all round from the Rhinos. It might be a lost cause, but they've still got a lot of pride to play for, and they haven't shown that so far tonight. Bradford Bulls, Brian Noble, their coach, very happy with the first 40 minutes, wants them to maintain their concentration. Not a lot to complain about, but they have got to prepare for semi-final football. They've got to get their mindset right, is what they're saying in the Bulls camp.
So expect more of the same for Leeds Rhinos. Here comes Anderson. Good job that Mercer got to him.
Will it be the wrong thing for Bradford to ease off and sort of rest? That's when injuries come about. We've really got to give it 100% all the time.
And from a Leeds point of view, Steve-O, injury is the last thing they want to any of their senior men. That ball has come out. Play on. Leeds have it. That was
good work there with Dowes.
It was good work from Ewan Dowes. Good strong tackle.
Peacock trying to offload the ball.
Well, Deacon is an integral part of this team, but he wants a run-on spot in the semi-final series, I'm sure. They're all offside, and it's been taken quickly by Rob Burrow, and he's gathered in by Henry Paul, by Michael Withers, beg your pardon. This now is Danny Ward. Oh, and he's lost it. He tried to get rid of that. Oh, given them the penalty. It was a call from the touch judge this side.
Well, I got the impression that Ward was trying to offload. Maybe not. Maybe the referee and the touch judge have got it right. Sinfield will punch it into the corner.
Well, I'm not sure, but anyway, Leeds can do with whatever charity is going at the moment, and Burrow finds the runner on his inside, and that was Ewan Dowes, and here now is Sinfield, who's given it to Cummins, and Forshaw quickly in. Leeds captain to his feet, plays it to Gary Mercer. It's with Anthony Farrell. Anthony Farrell then hands it on to Gareth Morton. I beg your pardon, that was Ewan Dowes again. And this here is Farrell, and Farrell slips the pass to David Wrench, and Wrench gives it to Danny Ward, and Danny Ward is over.
No, he's short.
Danny Ward is over the line.
What was he going to give it?
The try is given.
Well, that's an amazing try by the keeper. Excellent effort. I thought he was short. And they did well to keep that ball alive. Anthony Farrell got so close, and you can see he could offload there. A little half back, and then got to it. This is a wonderful effort. I thought they got him short.
On the line to try.
This is the effort from the hooker Farrell. That was good work. See clearer on this one. That's all you have to do, is to hit the whitewash. Never say die player, isn't he, Danny Ward? Certainly has beefed up the defence when he came off the bench at a time when it certainly needed it, when the Bulls were running riot.
And Rob Burrow now with the chance to add 2 more points to the Leeds total. Burrow slices it the wrong side of the post. 38-12. Well, it deserved better. That effort from Danny Ward, it deserved improving. But Rob Burrow knows it was a sliced conversion. Danny Ward, he's been featuring lately in first team duty. Last year's Alliance Player of the Year at Headingley.
Gets through a ton of work too, but talking of work, Anthony Farrell, for the first time during this game, showed a lot of strength, the ability to offload. And we said they were looking for an improvement in the second half. Well, they've got off to a flyer.
Yes, 38-12. It's respectable at the minute. And Leeds will look to build on that now.
Remember when St. Hilaire scored the try, it was barely seconds after that Bradford just scampered away for another 4-pointer. So it's important now that Leeds get through their sets of 6. Good kicking game, good chase.
And suddenly Leeds are having the better of things in this second half. It was completely and utterly the other way round in the first 40. Burrow. And, well, Burrow then just disappeared under Paul Anderson's brain. Sinfield. A dab over the top to turn Michael Withers around. And he allows it to run to Leon Price. Price to run it back. And heading off up the field is Leon Paul.
Went backwards.
It did go backwards. Play on. This is Vicona.
Well, Price thought he was away, and they just got to his jersey. The last minute, it was stripped away. That should have been back to 6. Not seen by the officials. Either way, the Bulls have got the football.
Henry Paul to Fielden. That ball has come free again, and it's yet another penalty. Well, how many times has the referee Robert Connolly penalised Leeds tonight for infringements in and around the play of the ball and that business of stealing it? Was it Mercer? It was again.
Surely he's got to have a word with him.
I was going to say, maybe it's time to have a word in the ear.
Well, Stuart Fielden was doing the referee's job then. 2 balls on the field. One off. Let's back into it. Now then, are Bradford going to set up one of their moves? It looks like it.
Anderson driving it through. Good job that Mercer had hold of his boot laces. And here now is Mackay down the short side, fed by Lowe's, and he takes some stopping also. Just 3 metres short. Lowe's again. 4 short. Oh.
Well, they were setting up for the run around.
The opportunity's gone.
And with a scoreline like that, you've virtually got the game sewn up, and that's the reason why the Bulls are going through their repertoire of moves. It's a good time to do them. You can make sure they come off.
Danny Ward, I think he's doing his best to play himself into a semi-final spot next weekend against the Saints.
Well, he certainly deserves it. On this performance, he deserves to start rather than being on the bench.
It's with Sinfield. He hursts it downfield, and Vicona comes across, and he will be content to allow that to run dead. Just 3 wins against the Bulls in Super League for Leeds. 2 of those came at Odsal, by the way, in 1998 and last year. But this is a fortress. They have not been breached. They have not had their colours lowered here this year. And as I said during the half-time break, the last team to beat them on home soil was Leeds last year. And that was at Odsal. No one has won here.
Again, we see a run from dummy half from Jimmy Lowe's, and that really must be pleasing the coach Brian Noble, because a little bit upset that Lowe's was not running at the start and midway through this season, but he's certainly got back to his best tonight.
Leeds doing their best to slow Bradford down. Henry Paul, Stuart Fielden taking the big men on and making more hard yards.
Again, we see them working that short blind, pulling the Leeds defence across.
It's untidy around the play of the ball, and Robert Connolly's patience is held. This is Peacock. Good tackle by Senior.
He's a big guy, he's Peacock, tall in stature. Brian Noble there, hoping for this defence to break down, but they find it a little bit difficult. So vastly improved performance by the Rhinos. It'll be pleasing that man.
Burrow, the dummy half. It's with Danny Ward again, but they're having difficulty getting the ball away from their own 10-metre zone. They might do here with Sinfield. Malreilly on the left, Darryl Powell on the right. Malreilly brought in to assist Darryl Powell with his coaching development. And even though he is head coach of a Super League team in the top 5, we have to talk about development in terms of Darryl Powell. This is Price. It was a tackle by Burrow, who went for the second effort.
That should have been a penalty.
The referee's pointing at Burrow and allowing the play to go on. It's a little bit frustrating, all this messing around at the play of the ball. They're trying desperately to slow Bradford down, and I suppose Robert Connolly doing his best to allow the advantage and allow Bradford to get on a roll. Lowe's, Fielden.
Now they'll utilise the link, I'm sure.
Lowe's again, and this now is Gartner. This is the last one, and Bradford camped again on the Leeds line.
Well, we get to see Paul Deacon do a step. Too strong.
James Lowe's with the dab into the in-goal area, and they wanted to get on with this quickly. Sinfield, but he's on his own. He had a little bit of support from Calderwood and further wide Senior. Here is Calderwood now from dummy half. This fella's got talent too. He's only 19. Tries in each of his, rather 3 of the last 4. And Big Barry's back.
Well, he'll make some impact.
Danny Ward. And here now is Anthony Farrell. Rob Burrow. Lovely step again from Burrow. Oh, what a precocious talent this kid is. What a try he has laid on a plate for Chev Walker. Rob Burrow. Well, there's another youngster playing his way into the semi-final series and a trip to Saints next week. Walker with the try, laid on a plate though by a scampering, dancing little run from Rob Burrow. I'm a big fan of his.
And so he should be. It's a good effort. Looked as though he was going to put the kick, confused Jimmy Lowe's, stepped through, got the ball out wide, and Walker steps back on the inside. Well, I mentioned the fact that Brian Noble said to his chargers that, remember, Leeds came back the last time they were here when it looked all over. And they have done it yet again. First Ward scores a try, now Walker.
It was scored by 18-year-old Chev Walker. It was laid on by 18-year-old Rob Burrow. And there he is. Well, the England Academy captain on that tour to New Zealand and Australia. And I wonder whether David Waite will take a big gamble on him and play him in the Ashes series. They say if you're old enough, or rather if you're good enough, you're old enough. And Burrow has kicked another couple of points. 38-18. They're clawing their way back into this.
See Burrows, looks as though he's going to kick. He fools Lowe's and back on the inside. Makes the break, has the speed. Neat pass. Good finish. Smack on the bottom for the Bulls.
He'll be much happier with this start to the second half. 2 tries to nil. 38-8 at half-time. 38-18 now. Well, Bradford have been rocked a bit. Oh dear.
Try.
Oh, it's a try.
Deacon's got it.
Oh dear, dear, dear.
What a mess.
Try is given. Deacon followed up. The Leeds heads dropped. I think that was Gareth Morton who made a complete porridge of the kick-off, and Deacon was on it like a flash. There's another great youngster as well, by the way, Deacon. He's only 22.
Was a loose forward. Real meal, kick through. That's try time. Well, he'll learn. Well, this fella, he's worked hard. But a mistake like that, no doubt about it. He got it down. So Deacon has struck back.
Quick thinking from Paul Deacon. Big fan of his as well.
You've got a few fans today, haven't you?
I've got no fans. I am a fan of class and quality. 44-18.
You don't have to look at me like that.
I am a friend of yours. Deacon with the try.
You do come out with some porky pies at times, I tell you.
Just 6 defeats in 32 games for Brian Noble now. I think that little passage of play has finally snuffed out the Leeds danger. But at least it was an encouraging opening quarter of an hour for the Rhinos. Oh, and Barry McDermott was high there.
It's on. And there's something unusual to see. Jimmy Lowes as the peacemaker. And well done, the hooker. He was quick to say to Mr. McDermott, come on, Barry. It was a bad one, too. I've mentioned quite a few times this year that, I don't know, some of these teams seem to think that it's open warfare on this Stuart Fielden. I know he's a tall fella.
Well, Barry McDermott and Stuart Fielden do not, I'm afraid, exchange pleasantries. And it went on during the England-Ireland match in the World Cup, remember?
Yep.
And it has followed them through to the Super League this year. And Barry and Stuart, they don't exchange Christmas cards.
Wait!
You'd be hard-pressed to put a stamp on that. And surely Barry McDermott has got to be very, very careful indeed.
This is Fielden.
Leeds can't do without a prop of his value for next week.
It's now Forshaw. Here's Fielden again. McDermott waits for him.
Oh, the heads are against each other. The elbow's gone in. Well, the referee can see that.
Yes, he pointed at him again.
Well, what's the point of pointing at him? All of a sudden, one young kid gets his head knocked off, and then they'll say, oh, I didn't see it. Of course he saw it.
This is Lowes attacking the short side.
Officials can't just allow Mayer like that.
Deacon stabs it through. Withers is after it. Withers gets another.
Beautiful combination.
He's not given it yet. Video referee will make the decision.
Excellent combination.
Grounding to be checked, Steve-O, and onside.
I think the onside's okay. Yep, that's okay. He's behind him when it makes contact with the foot, so now we'll go to see whether he grounded it properly. I think he did. Yeah, took it on the half volley and spun around and plopped. That's DIY time. No doubt whatsoever. No dearie, dearie, dearie me's on this.
Michael Withers gets yet another Bradford try. And an important kick coming up here, by the way, for Henry Paul.
What combination. He knew exactly what Deacon was going to do. Position himself well. And it's tries like that that not only bring a smile to the players, but especially to all the coaching staff on the side. And you say, Eddie, it is important.
It is, because it's made Bradford hit the 50 mark for a 6th time, and what's more, it confirms absolutely and without question that Henry Paul is the leading goal kicker in Super League this year in the regular weekly series. He's overtaken Andy Farrell here at the Bradford and Bingley Stadium tonight. Henry Paul, kicker supreme. They'll miss him, and that's out on the full.
Going from bad to worse. 2 tries early in this second half, one by Ward and then Walker. Lifted the spirits by Kona. Knew it was a touch too long. And surely they will punch this into the corner and set up yet another of their set patterns.
Well, Paul Anderson has gone off, and hey, Big Joe Vangenaar comes on. Not much changes when Brian Noble rotates his trot forwards. Beef and strength.
And it's amazing, isn't it? Bradford only 100 minutes away from a place at Old Trafford.
Man of the match, 09009 101013. UK viewers, Republic of Ireland, it's 1550 9235 56. 2 grand final tickets could be yours. I wonder who you'll be seeing at Old Trafford on the 13th of October. The Bulls fancy their chances. Big style.
Went backwards.
No.
He's got the knock on. Deacon looks a bit shocked. A little what he says to the official. Yeah.
Come down. He's in a ball. Body at the end, and the ball came out. That's how it looked to me.
Well, it's the 6th time this year that Leeds have conceded 50 points in Super League this year. Bradford have topped 50 points here now 6 times, but Bradford have scored 50 points against Leeds 3 times, 6 times in total in Super League. They're just 1 match away from the grand final, the Bulls, as Steve-O rightly says, just less than 100 minutes, because they will be here at home, and they only have to win that, and they're there. And then they get another week off. If you need any information, by the way, on the grand final, 0113 244 114. Super League Europe's office is open 9 AM Monday morning, and you can also pick up all the details you might need on our website. Hit the internet website. It's www.skysports.com.
Took that well. Naylor had to really dig deep and go down. Again, they work the blind side.
Kona halted by Calderwood and Senior.
Of course, the reward, Eddie, is finishing at the top of the league, is that the players and Brian Noble, the coach, has got a fortnight to prepare them.
Yes, they get the week off before their playoff, then they get the week off if they get through, of course. They get the week off prior to the grand final as well, while the other sides, the 2 that remain, battle it out with one of the biggest prizes in the business at stake. Henry Paul's kick out wide. Oh, it's claimed by Vicona. It stumps down to Withers. Withers is in again, and that's the second for Michael Withers. Well, the kick out wide from Henry Paul, it was gobbled up by the winger, flicked inside to Withers, and I'm afraid that all the tackling that Leeds have been doing in this match is starting to take its toll.
Super kick, plenty of height, allowed Vicona to get into it. Senior was just hanging around, doing a bit of shopping, I feel. Rather than going for the football, he's just trying to nudge the big fella out of the way, when really should have gone for this football. Not the best effort from Mr. Senior. And when he offloaded, Withers in. Try number 2 in the space of 2 minutes for the full-back. He's got a fine season.
And Henry Paul inevitably has added the extras, 56-18 now. It won't look good on the record books in years to come.
Well, one would have thought, perhaps, that with such a heavy scoreline, Brian Noble may want to sort of ease things down, but I think the fact that Leeds scored those 2 early tries in this second half, I don't think they'll be any easy enough at all.
No,
they want to go full bore. They want to just hammer those nails into the coffin now.
Well, 15 minutes, thereabouts, for Bradford to increase the lead, or Leeds to take yet more encouragement with them into the playoffs. Here's Lowe's. It's a big game, James Lowe's.
Got a cracker.
Former club, of course, Leeds, captain against Leeds twice this year, by the way, and he joined the Bulls in 1996 from the Leeds Rhinos. Another penalty.
Well, he's been extremely lenient, is Robert Connolly. The times that the very whistleblower has had to offer a penalty to the Bradford side. Maybe it was played on. There's no doubt that Morton was pushing him to the ground. It's relentless, the way that they just keep going down that short line.
Come in field this time to Vanganar. He's a great favourite here this year, the big Kiwi. Here's Deacon. They're giving it width to Henry Paul. He pops it back for Deacon. Deacon to Peacock.
Well, second phase wasn't coming there. Peacock was looking to offload.
They're really on the back foot here, the Leeds Rhinos. Lowe's dabs it through. That's well done. That is very well done by Burrow. Big men, Price and Mackay closing in on him, and that was bravery.
Sure was. Put his body on the line. Neat little kick from Jimmy Lowe's. He knew that, especially the big fella Mackay.
He just looked up, saw what was coming, and ducked ahead.
He's a tough cookie.
Well, the party started. Bradford as league leaders in the playoffs. And if this is the start of the party, I wonder whether it will reach a crescendo at Old Trafford on the 13th of October. They desperately want to rid this tag they have, and a lot of people have given it them after losing the Challenge Cup final this year against the Saints, that they choke on the big occasion. For all their dominance in the summer era, Steve, they only have the one Challenge Cup against Leeds in 2000 to show. They want to get rid of that, and Naylor's after this, and Cummins is just bundled over the line. It's a drop out here underneath the sticks.
Just show you that if you get your short kicking game to near perfection, it just becomes relentless. And time again, you just get starved of the football because they've got to keep dropping it out to you.
They did actually win the 1997 championship, didn't they? The Bulls
right.
on first past the post, but on big occasions, big nights, big days, they have been found to be wanting in the past. They want that Charlie off their back.
They certainly do, but I think it was a big lesson when they went to Twickenham for that final. St Helens completely outplayed them and outthought them. And I think Brian Noble realises that you have to have certain tactics for certain games. You cannot just play the same pattern week in, week out. And I think he's learned that.
McDermott and Fielden are eyeball to eyeball again. Here's Mackay.
The knock on.
Well, Fielden is being taken off. He limps his way to the side. I think that's wise by Brian Noble.
Well, there's no point in running the risk, is it?
Well, there's no love lost between him and Barry McDermott. No love lost at all. And every time Fielden got it, McDermott was hunting him. And I think that's very wise by Brian Noble. As you say, no point in taking the risk at all. Well, are they potential grand final winners? Phil, Bradford, what do you think?
They're looking pretty good at the moment. I think they've got a few points left in them. We often hear coaches make suggestions for rule changes. I'm not so sure that Brian Noble might vote for the abolition of the half-time rest. His side certainly don't tend to like that. But you have to pay a lot of credit, I think, to Leeds. Their defence in the opening 15 minutes showed a tremendous amount of character. The young players like Chev Walker there, Gareth Morton, Rob Burrows, have certainly found out tonight they're in the deep end of Super League, and this is what it's about. I think for Bradford, as the Bullman gets the crowd going here now, showing the fact that they have a variety of ways of getting over the opposition try line, and that's what will make them dangerous in this final series.
It's with Anderson now, and look at the way Anderson just tucks the ball under his arm and carries four men towards the line. 36 missed tackles though by Leeds. Ball fired out to Naylor. Naylor pops it back to Bicona. They've lost ground, but they have possession, and they will come the other way now with Henry Paul. The kick wasn't the best.
Well, they applied the pressure on him, probably for the first time during this match. He's played his part, but it's been a good team effort from the Bradford side. As Barry gets the normal boo. But their defence has been, well, apart from a little bit lax on the restart, but the defence has been pretty solid throughout. Even though it's such a heavy scoreline, they're getting out of the blocks pretty quickly.
He's taken a bang on his thigh, Stuart Fielden, as Fleary takes the tackle on halfway. 10 minutes to go. Do Bradford have anything more in the tank? Do Leeds have a few more points to take with them to St Helens next weekend? This is the last one for them. Wrench to Sinfield. There's a little dab over the top. It bounced off the knees of Henry Paul, and that's a knock-on. Knock-on not by Paul, but by Paul Deacon.
Just a little bit sloppy there. Good work though by Sinfield. Just pop the ball over, and you see that Henry Paul pulled back rather than putting his body on the line, going for the...
Yeah, it came off his knee, I think, and then Deacon looking for it.
That's, I don't know where they've got the knock-on from there either. I thought it came off Deacon's knee. Either way, the Rhinos...
they won't be complaining.
No. Can they finish with a charge?
Wrench to Nasser. Wrench again, going on his own, David Wrench.
Good effort too. Tackled by Shane Rigon.
Here's Mercer, now Burrow, running across the line, stabbing it forward, and Paul Deacon taking no chances. Could hear Barry McDermott thundering up behind him.
Neat footwork too. Neat little dab through. Could have been obstruction perhaps, but he does the David Beckham. Gets it out of the way very, very quickly. I think both sides are looking for that clock just to tick away.
Well, I don't think there's any danger that Bradford are going to win this, so the qualifying playoff will be between Wigan and Hull next Friday at 7:30 on Sky Sports 1, and the elimination playoff, one of these two will go out, is next Saturday on Sky Sports 3 at 6. It's Saints against Leeds next Saturday, and playoff football, of course, is, well, it's just like a cup tie. In fact, it is a cup tie for St Helens and Leeds. For Wigan and Hull, there is the opportunity to have another bite at the cherry if you do lose. But the winners of Wigan and Hull have to come here the following week. What a prize they're playing for there.
Fleary with yet another mistake, and not to impress the coaching staff at Headingley. No pressure was applied to the prop forward there.
No.
And,
well, Mal Reilly has coached a grand final winning team down under, Newcastle Knights. Could be a real line for his CV if he helps Darryl Powell to similar success up here.
Well, they would have been pleased with that opening stanza. And Bradford worried for about 15 minutes in the second half, but everything went back to normal, didn't it? Deacon and 2 tries from Withers.
Vanganard to his feet. It's really untidy around the play of the ball. Don't want to be boring, but we've said that quite a few times tonight. And Barry McDermott could have been penalised then for the late flop on Anderson.
Got the benefit of the doubt. That's a beautiful kick. Well weighted.
Chev Walker got it at the second attempt. He missed it with the hands, but flicked it with the knee.
It's a wonderful array of skills, isn't it, that Bradford have. I mean, when you look at the fact that Robbie Paul, Henry Paul, Paul Deacon and the hooker Jimmy Lowes have got very good short kicking games. I'd like to see the stat as to how many times Leeds have actually had to drop out from underneath their own post. It's been plenty.
4 we make it. 4 times. Yes, Leeds have dropped out, Bradford twice. Lowes to Vanganard. Here's Lowes again. Now Deacon. Good ball back to Rigon. And McDermott with a very good tackle. Deacon attacking the line. Henry Paul flicks it back to Anderson. Anderson stands, gives it to Paul Deacon. They will come again. Wide it goes. Mackay inside and touched. And that will be head and feed to Bradford.
Andy Kirk got a hand to that. It was going to be try time. The big fellow was on his way. Forshaw was back on the inside. Forshaw would have had a leisurely stroll over. Good work there by the substitute Kirk. It's a big learning curve for these youngsters. Big crowd, a lot of pressure.
And here come Bradford with Henry Paul trying to step inside Sinfield, but with a little bit of help from Jason Netherton.
Now will Lowes go on and go for a try?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
No, he isn't. He went for the run.
But
he's back to his best, is Jimmy.
I think Brian Noble has enjoyed this. Flick pass from Henry Paul to Anderson. On it goes then to Deacon. Now to Vanganard. And here is Forshaw. And there is Darren Fleary. That ball's lost. He's stolen though.
With a penalty. Well, Forshaw's pass there to Jimmy Lowe's going to ground, and the look that Jimmy gave his colleague. Oh, that's a great kick.
Well, it's been overwhelmingly Bradford's night, and the captain, Robbie Paul, is with Bill on the sideline.
Robbie, top spot is yours, and that's objective #1 achieved for the season, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we set out to do at the beginning of the year, but you know, it means nothing these days. We want to go on with the job, hopefully get to the grand final and win the grand final, and I mean, that was the main objective we set out with this year.
But to go into the semi-final series in this sort of form's no bad thing, is it? With a thumping win like this.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we took a lot away from our loss against Wigan, and I think over the past 2 games we've shown, you know, ourselves really what we can achieve when we put our minds to it.
Sure have. Thanks, Robbie.
No worries.
Vicona's away. Vicona's away. He's leading the charge. The support is there, but it's straight into the arms of Mercer.
Lurking with intent there.
And he's not happy.
He's mad because Vicona was trying to offload that pass.
Well, including this, 56 points tonight, even though Vicona, in the eyes of his coach, maybe has blown the opportunity of a try. The Bradford Bulls hit the playoffs having scored 140 points in their last 2 games. They are in awesome form.
Impressive, isn't it?
Can they carry it through now?
We just heard from the sideline that they have still got a job to do, and Big Joe's pinched the ball.
And here's Deacon, now it's with Mackay. And you can credit Leeds, actually, you know, they aren't turning this in. 56-18, they've been beaten, but they are still tackling and trying to stem the tide. Here's Withers. Withers still to Lowe's. This will be the icing on Jimmy's cake.
He'll love this, you little beauty.
It's against his former club. And Brian Noble knows the significance of that try as well.
He's back, and boy oh boy is he ever. He's had a wow of a game. And it's only about 6 or 7 weeks ago, you know, he was going through a form slump. He wasn't doing the basics right. He was not running from dummy half. He was not controlling things. But on this occasion, it's a full-back break. Keeping the ball alive. Good work from Price. And Withers, who's got this such leisurely style. Maybe a bit suspect that on looking at it again. The referee was there, and Jimmy Lowe says, "You beauty." We spoke many times about the effect it can have on the opposition to keep turning in the tackle when you suck the defenders to you. The fullback lays it on, and there'll be no bigger smile around these parts than the one from this guy.
Maybe from his coach, because he enjoyed that as well. It was the 11th try that the Bradford Bulls have scored tonight, and Henry Paul adds the extras. 62-18. Bradford hit the playoffs like an orchestra playing their very best symphony.
The timpani, the orchestra, as Eddie said, they are in full voice. It has been a hammering.
They're counting down to victory. This will be the last play. Cummins, Leeds haven't given it up. They're going right to the end. There's the knock on. That is the end. Darryl Powell scratches ahead. He's a lot of work to do between now and next Friday when they enter the Champions' lair. Brian Noble, his men have given him the best possible send-off. The last match at home of the regular weekly season. They will be back here in 2 weeks' time for a match against the winners, yes, of Wigan against Hull. And that match will decide who goes straight through to Old Trafford. And in this form, at this place, the Bulls must be red-hot favourites. They have won here by 68 points to 18, 62 points to 18. Robbie Paul 2 tries, Naylor 2 tries, and Withers 2 tries. Henry Paul 9 goals. Brian Noble will be a delighted coach. He's with Bill.
a delighted coach. That's putting it mildly, I would have thought.
Yeah, I think we've finished where we deserve to finish. I'm really pleased with them. They like playing rugby league. They're a special bunch of people, and we get a week off, and then we've got the tough stuff to come, the really important stuff. But I'm really pleased that they finished top of the pile. I think it's a fair reflection of what they've done all season, and I just wish they could have cups like you've got there, Bill.
You might have bigger prizes to come your way, but as Robbie's just told us, that getting first place means nothing unless you go on from here and do the whole job.
Means absolutely nothing. All it means is today was just the 2 points, and because of the points difference, we just finished in front of Wigan, and the top 5 is a really strong top 5 this year, and we've got to play till the end. It's pointless doing what we've done all year not to get to the grand final.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Well, the Bradford Bulls party has begun. They are enjoying this on the terraces. They're enjoying it on the field as well. The end of their weekly programme. They are top of the pops as far as this lot are concerned, and they are top of the table going into that playoff series. And James Lowes has had a fine game. He has had a huge influence on this match, and I don't think I'm giving away any secrets by telling you that James Lowes is the Sky Sports man of the match, and he will go home tonight, apart from a hug from his coach Brian Noble, but also with the Tissot watch on his wrist. And what a season this fella's had on this ground. Brian Noble, 14 out of 14. But let's talk to the man of the match. James Lowes is his name. He's with Bill.
Jimmy, congratulations. There's your watch, and I should imagine that try put the lid on. Personally, a great night.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Wanted that try, and it got it at the end there, so all thanks to Mick Withers, just put the cakes down. But yeah, it was a good night. It's a good night for us, and we finished top, and that was his aim.
Well, that's what everybody's been saying all season. The #1 goal finished top, but there's one more goal, isn't there?
Of course it is, and we've reached stage 1. We finished top, and you know, we're going to have a tough game in a couple of weeks now, but we'll think about that in a couple of weeks' time.
I know you've got there, but this is where people will now start saying, they're saying it already, you know, they choke. The Bulls choke when it comes to the big games.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a good argument for that as well over the last few years, but you know, we'll see. It's a different year, and you know, it's a different bunch of lads this year, so we'll see in a few weeks' time whether we choke or not.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks for Tissot.
And well done to James Lowes. Gemma Brooke from Warrington, you can book your trip to Old Trafford for the grand final. I wonder whether you will be seeing the Bradford Bulls at the Theatre of Dreams on October the 13th. That was a wonderful performance from them, albeit against a very weakened Leeds side, and to their credit, the Leeds Rhinos, a bunch of youngsters out there, they never stop going right to the final whistle. But Darryl Powell, a little bit like Ian Millwood last night at Wigan, the St Helens coach, he's got a little bit of work to do, and so too has Darryl Powell. But Steve-O, here we are, we're at the playoffs, and James Lowes looks to be in the mood to have a little influence on getting the Bulls all the way there.
Yeah, a fine game, and deservedly won the man of the match. Now, it's interesting, if anyone had any doubt that Brian Noble isn't a great coach, it's basically down to the fact that, remember, 6 or 7 weeks ago, Jimmy Lowes was out of form. He wasn't playing well. He was being replaced at half-time, or sometimes before that, by Robbie Paul on the bench. And I had the cheek about 5 or 6 weeks ago in the midweek programme to suggest to Brian Noble that was it the end of Jimmy Lowes' career, because he just wasn't doing the basics right. And he had the cheek to turn around to me and say, don't worry, he will bounce back. And I'll tell you, he has bounced back in the best possible fashion. There's only one way to answer critics like myself or anybody, is to do it out on the paddock. And boy, oh boy, did he do that tonight. And being an old hooker myself, it brought a right smile to my face too.
Yes, a terrific display from James Lowes, rightly named as the man of the match. Bradford then, they have the week off. That could be very important to them. And they look in awesome form, don't they? Phil Clark on the sideline. You've had absolutely close-up view of Bradford tonight. They look like a team going all the way.
Well, he's certainly on this ground as well. All year they've been incredibly outstanding and very, very dominant over any of their opponents. When a driver wins pole position in the Grand Prix, his team tend to celebrate, and that's what I think the Bradford Bulls fans will do tonight. The tough job now for Brian Noble is just to keep the team happy, keep them right at that level 14 days before the next game, and that's when they have to peak really to make it into the grand final. Going back to Leeds, well, I think that they'll probably adopt a similar approach to St Helens last night. Dismiss this game, that's history now, and really focus on the task of next weekend, when really have the chance of Hay, Diskin and Carroll back in the side, they can really trouble St Helens.
Let's just complete the picture as far as we're concerned. Hull will play tomorrow, but this is the way the top 5 looks. Bradford on top by points difference, and it's overwhelming against over the Wigan Warriors. Hull will finish 3rd, the Saints, the champions, are 4th, and Leeds are 5th. Down at the bottom, there is still a scrap going on between Wakefield and Huddersfield as to who goes down, but the spotlight now is on the top 5 and the playoffs that begin in earnest next weekend. We've got Wigan against Hull on the Friday, Saints against Leeds on the Saturday. Steve, I can't wait. It'll be fantastic.
No, neither can I, and it will be fantastic. That's the reason why they brought in the top 5 playoff, because it's right down to the wire, and it's a great occasion at Old Trafford. I'm looking forward to the playoffs. I'm sure you are, and I'm sure that all the fans that we've seen here today, they'll be looking forward to it too.
Particularly if they follow the Bradford Bulls. Now then, we have got the Sharks and the Bulldogs up to the playoffs already down under, in its knockout football all the way now. Sunday, 10:30, Sky Sports 3. And then our playoffs begin, and we're at the JJB Stadium next Friday for Wigan against Hull. Whoever wins that comes here in a fortnight. Whoever loses this one departs the scene. Saints Leeds next Saturday, Sky Sports 3 from 6 o'clock. We're there, but at the end of the season, we're into the playoffs. It's all road to Old Trafford now. From us both, goodbye. Ball wide, it goes to Withers. They must score, and Naylor is in. Gardner, and Gardner's going to get over for the 3rd Bradford try. Oh, they've got the man on the overlap again. Vicona. Infield then to Morton. Morton, lovely ball back to St Hilaire. First chance really for St Hilaire, and St Hilaire, that's terrific. Forshaw, who goes away from Mercer, gives it to Robbie Paul. Brilliant. That was brilliant. Rob Burrow. Lovely step again from Burrow. Oh, what a precocious talent this kid is. What a try he has laid on a plate for Chev Walker.